Howdy gaming people, Toby from Pixel Pop Network here, taking a look at the Necromancer, which is currently in beta, and I was lucky enough to get in, which was really exciting. So I'm currently running a male variant, Necromancer on softcore. Both male and female are currently available, and both hardcore and softcore are currently available. Adventure mode is the only mode available to Necromancer at the moment. Unfortunately, you can't play through the story, which I was really keen to do, but can't at the moment. So we've just been battling away on adventure mode. We can do greater rifts. I think I'm sitting at 18th currently. You can notice Quinn's up here on 9th. And we've managed as a group to get to 64 there as a solo. It's quite difficult because there's no gear for Necromancers yet. No gear specific to Necromancers. We have all the generic sort of stuff, you know, Ingium and illusory boots, this sort of thing. But there's no sets and there's no legendaries for Necromancer yet. So naturally, Lon is going to be the set to play with at the moment until we get gear. And if you look at that ladder and go through the makeup, most of it is Lon, and then people just slapping in the best ancients they've got. I managed to get lucky and get a couple of primal ancients. That was actually made with this character. You don't even have Necromancer Hellfires yet. It just gives you wizard passives, unfortunately. So for this setup, I've been using Enforcer, and you can see my gems only rank 60. I was playing Season 10 Witch Doctor, and I haven't really managed to get those gems up to sort of 100 or anything yet, which those above me on the ladder have. Bane of the Trapped and Esoteric Alteration, which, yeah, you'd really need once you get to about 55 plus. Apart from that, it's just a hodgepodge here between Witch Doctor stuff I grabbed and my Lon Bombardment stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so let's have a quick look at some skills. So primary, Bone Spikes is basically your main mana gainer. And in this instance, I've also got it set up to gain life, leech life off my enemies. You've got the Scythe, which I think they've also you should have seen if you've been following events. You would have seen prior to they had showed that off. And Siphon Blood is Legacy of Kain style. You're just sucking the blood out of things. It's pretty cool. Alright, Blood and Bone. Bone Armor is back. It looks really cool. I'll have screenshots of it in my written piece, but I've seen quite a few people using it. I've been trying to use and dabble with the increased damage because it's apparently 200%. But it kind of reminds me of the Witch Doctor skills. It's Soul Harvester, I think it is, where you sort of it's your main toughness buff, and you've got to maintain it. It plays similar to that, which is why I ignored it, because I don't like that particular mechanic. Blood Rush is your teleporter. And it's quite literally a teleporter. It's not a rush. You just blink. And Simulacrum is your clone. So you create a second version of yourself for a short period of time. I stick with Bone Spirit just because it does a whopping 4,000% damage on impact, which can be increased more with Astral Projection. Works for me. Corpse Explosion. I don't normally use it. I normally use Revive. I'm just leaving it on Corpse Explosion because you're gonna want to see Corpse Explosion. It's awesome. There's no doubt about it. They're gonna have a set for sure revolving around Corpse Explosion. It's a lot of fun. They've been getting a lot of positive feedback about it. Corpse Lamps lets you sort of use bodies in interesting ways. Devour is exactly that. You sort of consume the corpses for an effect, a buff, and Revive, which is the most commonly used one as you're going to push higher and higher, turns those corpses into creatures that fight for you. Skeletons are back. and we'll go into them on the battlefield a little bit more, but passively, once the skill's there, it just immediately summons these skeletons for you. You don't have to click the skill, it just keeps summoning them for you. The active is they head over to your target and go and do something. In my case, they go ballistic. It's great because, as many Witch Doctor players will lament, that, you know, you have no control over your pets, and they do some really stupid things. You can now target with your pets. That is brilliant. Army of the Dead is a massive cooldown skill that literally fills the screen with an Army of the Dead. It looks cool, but the cooldown at the moment, which we really can't seem to get down, even with the gear, because again, it comes down to gear. There's no passives that reduce the cooldown. So it looks nice, but I mean, then you're going to wait 2 minutes. It's just too long. Land of the Dead, I haven't dabbled too much with, but it allows you to sort of do a whole vast... It allows you to interact with corpses on the field sort of infinitely, I guess, and do some interesting things for a short period of time. We've got curses, debuffs. So Decrepify, slow them down, they do less damage. That's probably going to be more useful at really high levels. Life Leech and Frailty, which is the one I'm using, which is anything that is at 15% or less health just dies. That includes bosses and Rift Guardians at the moment, which is fantastic. Because, you know, yeah. I'm switched it to Aura of Frailty, which makes it a permanent aura rather than having to constantly cast it, and I use that in conjunction with Eternal Torment passive, which says my curses cost 15% less essence and last forever. So basically, I push it once, and that aura stays indefinitely, which is great. So anything inside of that is just dying instantly at 15%, and it can be increased, I believe, with gold pickup radius. I just haven't had any gear. Gear is tricky at the moment. We got our golem, and right, yeah, secondaries. I'm not using it at the moment. Bone Spear is back. It's huge. It doesn't look like the tiny little dagger you used to get. And it's also got Teeth is back, which is great. I was using that earlier on. Skeleton Mage is seeing a lot of use, particularly Singularity. It allows you to dump all of your essence into the one summon to do massive amounts of damage. I just find I've had better success with Bone Spirit personally at the moment. Notice the little skulls there. And then Death Nova is just sort of again, as a returning skill, we've got the explosions and what have you. Passives, you can see it's all pretty much placeholder artwork. There's a lot of life gain, perhaps a little too much. Grisly Tribute, Life from Death, Draw Life. Most of it is life gain, and there's a lot of sort of pet buffing, which is understandable. Pardon me. Standalone's an interesting one where if you're not playing as pets, you get a massive armor bonus. So I've dabbled with that a little bit. I also dabbled with Aberrant Animator a little bit, which is the thorns for pet. I just couldn't get enough thorns up, even with all my ancient Lon bombardment gear and things like that. It just wasn't doing enough damage once we got a little higher. It sort of seems similar to the problem that Barb has. You just don't see, obviously, a lot of Barb Thorn builds because they just don't have the supporting gear. Yeah, so that's that. There's 2 new areas in this patch, and they will be available for free as well to everybody. It's only the Necromancer that's paid DLC, so Shrouded Moors, Temple of the Firstborn. We'll just hop over to one of these and give you a bit of a quick look at how she plays. My initial concern with the Witch Doctor was that it was sort of going to be a... Witch Doctor, see, with the Necromancer was that it was going to be a Witch Doctor sort of reskin, or it was going to feel too similar. It doesn't. It does feel different. There's Corpse Explosion in action. You're going to love it. As I said, I don't know if it's going to be... At the moment, it's not viable for sort of going higher levels, but it is so much fun. You get a bottleneck where everything's trying to pile through a doorway at you, and you're using that. It's hilarious because it just... There's no resource cost with any of those body skills at all. So as long as there's bodies on the ground, you can keep doing it. right? And of course they explode and do damage and kill things and just create more bodies and repeat. As I said, I prefer to use, and you will probably use as well, once you get a little higher, revive. And that summons, turns those bodies into a summon for you. Thusly. Again, a lot of placeholder artwork. We're very beta. You can see here, my golem doesn't even have a proper icon. Which is interesting. I've been in other betas, like I was in Reaper of Souls beta, and I've had access to other betas, and this one is really beta, which is great because I sort of get to see the character from the beginning, and you know, as it's naturally going to evolve, I can sort of see where it came from. Yeah, it's fun. I have no idea what the price is going to be. I'm going to guess it's sort of maybe $10, $15. A lot of general chat has been talking about how OP the character is. Yeah, I think it's just a case of it's new. It feels a lot like you would hope it would. You know, it feels like Necromancer from D2 just, you know, sped up and made more powerful. That's really what we wanted, I think. We didn't want them to reinvent the wheel. You know, we wanted Necromancer, and we got it. So a lot of the skills are familiar. They play in a very similar way. Obviously, Diablo 3 is a lot faster game than Diablo 2. So some things have to change, but yeah, the bodies are still there, you know, and I like that whole mechanic. I think more than anything, it's the most refreshing and unique part of this character is the body mechanic, and using that for various skills. I'm keen to see sets. I'm keen to see legendaries. I'm keen to see the story. Unfortunately, at the moment, as I said, we can only play in bounty adventure mode. Yeah, but the only thing I haven't looked at yet in 2.6 is challenge rifts, and I'll be doing that if not today, then over the weekend. So that's about all I have for you. That's Necromancer, and that's a guy standing in front of me. There we go, Necromancer, looking cool. Thanks for watching. There'll be a written piece to go with this on our on the Pixel Pop website, www.pixelpopnetwork.com.au. Follow us there, follow us here, and if you really like what we're doing, also check out our Patreon /ATGNPPN. Thank you very much for watching. Ciao.